Y'all, I have seen resumes that are missing contact information. Like, how is somebody supposed to call you or email you if you really want this job? What's up, you guys? Welcome back to this week's helpful video. I am Tamika Thompson. I am the owner and resume writer at Thompson Resume Writing Company. I specialize in transforming bland, lackluster resumes and LinkedIn profiles into powerful selling tools that help corporate mid-level, management, and executive professionals land interviews 2 times faster. For this video, I am going to be explaining how your resume should flow from start to finish. Let's get right into it. Ideally, your resume should flow or be structured in a way that puts the most important information first or required information first, and then gradually trickles down to information or content that is the most important. But what I've learned is that not everyone knows where information goes, what sections they should have, and what information they should be including. Y'all, I have seen resumes that are missing contact information. Like, how is somebody supposed to call you or email you if you really want this job? I've seen people miss targeted summaries, meaning they're jumping directly into the document with no sort of lead-in or letting the recruiter know what they specialize in or what they're looking for. And then I've also seen resumes that are entirely missing all of their skills, which makes no sense because that's one of the most important pieces of a resume, your competencies. And all of these are big no-nos. So how should your resume go? We're going to talk about it right now. Here is how your resume should flow. The very first thing that should be on your resume is your name. So your name is the first thing that should be on your resume. It should be at the very top, and you should have your name centered at the very top or have it positioned to the left because that's where the eye is naturally going to go. Do not have it positioned to the right because that way the eye is going to jump to the right and then it's going to jump to the left and it's going to be a backward Z, which is what we don't want. We want your document in its entirety to read as a normal Z pattern. And please be sure to list your first and your last name. You can include your middle initial if you like, but make sure that you have your first name and your last name. There's no reason to include your middle name either. Also, do not include alternatives of your name like first initial, last name, or first name, last initial. It should be first name, last name. That's it. Your name is going to be the most prominent thing on your resume, which means that it's going to be the largest in terms of size. Everything else after that is going to be smaller. Your name is the most important thing and it should go first. Number 2 is your contact information. So after you've listed your first name and your last name, directly underneath there you want to include your phone number, your email address, and possibly a link to your LinkedIn profile if you have it, as well as a link to your social media profiles, a personal branded website, or an online portfolio that you have. There is no need to list 2 phone numbers or 2 emails. You should be choosing 1 email and 1 phone number that you check and use regularly. Also, please be sure that whatever phone number that you're listing, make sure that your voicemail box is set up, that it's not full, and if you have the opportunity and if you haven't done so already, make sure that your voicemail has a greeting already recorded on there. Also, with your email address, make sure that you have a professional email signature. It can include your first name, your last name, your phone number, and your email at the bottom. Number 3 is a targeted headline. Now that recruiters know who you are and they know how to get in contact with you if they're interested in taking next steps, now you need to let them know the type of job that you are aiming for, and you will do this with a targeted headline. You can do this by using your job title or using the job title that you are aspiring to get, and you can also use your job title plus the industry that you are in or that you are going after. Targeting your resume not only makes it clear the type of jobs that you're going for, but it also sets the tone for the recruiter in terms of the content that they're about to read. Do not jump right into your experience or right into your skills without having a targeted headline first. Just don't. Please don't do that. Number 4, after your targeted headline comes your professional or your career summary. Notice I said professional summary and not an objective statement. Again, if y'all watch my videos, you already know how I feel about objective statements. Get rid of them, cut them, throw them in the trash. Professional summary should be between 3 and 5 bullet points, and it should touch on your career, skill, and expertise highlights as it relates to the roles that you are applying for. The key word here is relevant. You don't want to include any highlights that's not directly tied to the positions that you're going to be going after. Be sure to stay away from fluff words and make sure that you're using numbers, data, and stats to back up any statement. Here are some fluff words that you should avoid. Number 5 is your skills. So right after your professional summary should come your skills. I've seen so many resumes that either have the skills on the very bottom, which can mean at the bottom of the page, or on the second page of the resume. And then I've seen resumes that are missing the skills section altogether, which is exactly what you do not want. They should go directly after your professional summary. You should have anywhere between 10 and 15 skills listed, and it should be a mix of hard skills, soft skills, and industry-related competencies. Just like in your professional summary, you want to also make sure that you're staying away from cliche buzzwords and fluff phrases in the skills section. You want to also make sure that you're staying away from adjectives and personality traits as well. Here's a list of adjectives, personality traits, and cliche phrases that you want to keep out of your skills section. Instead, you want to use terms like these. Make sure that you are using terms that are related to your field, and do not list any skills or any strengths that you are not strong in or that you do not have for real. Because that's kind of low-key lying, and that is what we do not want to do on our resume. We ain't finna tell no lies. We're not telling no lies. Number 6 is education, but only if it's recent and only if you're currently enrolled. So if you have completed your degree more than 5 years ago, it's going to go last. Now, listing your education on your resume can be tricky. So if the degree that you have or the certification that you have, if it's recent and if it's related to the position, so for example, if you are in HR and you have a SHRM certification, that's important to that industry, right? So you want to make sure that you have that placed right here as opposed to having it placed at the bottom. Because also for some positions, having that master's degree, having that certification is a requirement. So you want to make sure that you have a position towards the top so that you're telling the recruiter, okay, I have exactly what you're looking for in terms of education, in terms of years of experience, and in terms of skill set. So if the degree is not recent and or it's not relevant, that's when it's going to be positioned more so towards the bottom. So an example of this would be if you have a SHRM certification, but maybe you're applying to a marketing position, or you are applying to a computer science or a data engineering type position. That's not relevant, and it's probably not recent, or it may not be recent. And that's another scenario when you're going to have your education placed more so towards the bottom of the document rather than right here. If your education is not relevant, if it's not recent, then you are not going to put it here. You're more than likely going to be diving right into your experience. So finally, number 7 is the experience section. So now comes the experience. Notice how all of those other things have to come first before you get to the experience. I like to say that your name, your contact information, the targeted headline, your professional summary, your skills, all of that kind of serves as an appetizer and a lead-in into the document. Once you get to the experience section, I like to call that the meat and potatoes section, and that is where you are going to seal the deal as far as letting the recruiter know that you have exactly what they are looking for and that you know how to do what they need done. So because this is a targeted resume and not a general resume, we are only going to be including jobs that are relevant to the position that we are applying to. The only circumstance where you're not going to list jobs that are related to the position that you're applying to is if your work history is a little spotty or if you're making a career transition. In those circumstances, your experience section may look a little bit differently, meaning you might be kind of sectioning it off by experience type or by job title. When it comes to listing your experience on your resume, you want to make sure that you're listing them in reverse chronological order, meaning that your current or your most recent position is going to go first, and then all your other positions are going to go after that. For every job that you list, you need to make sure that you're including the job title, the company name, the city and state of the company, and the time frame that you were there. There should be a to and a from date. You can either use month and year, or you can just use the year, but you need to make sure you have all of that information when it comes to listing your experience. And when it comes to listing your job descriptions, you should have no more than 7 to 10 bullet points, and each line that you have should be no more than 2 sentences. And be sure not to focus on what you're responsible for, but focus on your impact, focus on your successes, and focus on the value that you brought to the company while you were there. Number 8 is professional associations and memberships, if you have any. So this section is reserved for professional memberships and affiliations that you are a part of. Maybe you're a part of the American Marketing Association. Maybe you're a part of the SHRM Association. Maybe you're a part of a Boston Program Management Association, and it's a special chapter. You want to make sure that you're including that on your resume. But you only want to list this if you are a current member or if you hold some sort of a position. So maybe you're on the board, maybe you are a secretary, maybe you are the accountant. And if you are, you want to also make sure that you're including a brief description of what it is that you do and how it impacts the organization or how it helps membership. And sororities and fraternities can also be included in this section as well. So that is how your resume should flow. Stop jumping right into your skills section without setting the stage. Stop jumping directly into your experience, and stop listing your education at the very top if it has nothing to do with the job or if you graduated 10 plus years ago. I know education is important and I know that you are so proud of yourself, but if it does not need to be there, go ahead and move it towards the bottom. Feel free to reference this video when it comes to refreshing, updating, or creating your resume. If you do need assistance with your resume, I am more than happy to help you. Feel free to visit my website at www.thompsonresumes.com. You can also shoot me an email to hello@thompsonresumes.com. And before I officially end this video, I want to encourage you to please subscribe to my Tamika's Career Tea email newsletter list. So as part of my email list, every 2 weeks you will be getting helpful career, LinkedIn, resume, and cover letter tips and hints, as well as content updates in terms of when I drop a new YouTube video and when I release a new blog. And anytime I come out with a new resource or a new digital product, my email list is the first people to have access to that. I'll go ahead and drop the link in the comments below so that you can subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next week with another video. Bye guys.